So, good day everyone. I am Johar Ambrosa and I'm going to continue the discussion about the Federal Republic of Germany. And at this point of time, we're going to focus about the two things, which is the electoral process or the manner of choosing officials. And the second one is the party system of the Federal Republic of Germany. So, without further ado, let us begin. Electoral system in Germany. The German federal election systems regulates the election of the members of the national parliament called the Bundestag. So, the Bundestag is the German federal parliament. It is the only federal representative body that is directly elected by the German people. So the Bundestag comprises the seats representing each electoral district, with the remainder of seats being allocated to maintain proportionality based on the second vote. So the common practice is that direct candidates are also placed on the electoral list at higher rankings as a fallback in case they do not win their districts. So this is how the German Bundestag looks like, composed of seats and the people. Next is how do the Germans vote? Germans elect their members of parliament with two votes. First, the first vote is for a direct candidate who is required to receive a plurality vote in their electoral district. The second vote is used to elect a party list in each state as established by its respective party caucus. So, the first vote allows the elector to vote for a direct candidate of their constituency who applies for a direct mandate in the Bundestag. Relative majority voting is used in the first vote. So, when we say relative majority voting, it means that the candidate who receives the most vote can get the mandates. So if the vote results in a tie, the lot drawn by the leader of the regional election is decisive. So in this case, the votes for the other candidates are invalid. The primary function of the first vote is to personalize the election. So this is the function or the purpose of the first vote. So as there are 299 constituencies at the moment, the same number of mandates in the Bundestag are distributed to the elected candidates in each district. So, however, the first vote does not determine the power of the parties in the Bundestag. For each direct mandate in a Bundesland, the party always receives one mandate fewer from the second vote. The size and the geographical shape of the electoral constituencies are revised by an electoral committee appointed by Germany's head of state. So, of course, the final decision is made by the German Bundestag and can be found in the attachment to the federal electoral law. The second vote allows the elector to vote for a party whose candidates are put together on the regional electoral list. Based on the proportion of second votes, the 598 mandates are distributed to the parties who have achieved at least 5% of valid second vote. So since the 1987 German Bundestag elections, the distribution of seats was made according to the Harry-Niemeyer method due to a change in the law passed in the January 2008. The distribution of seats is now made according to the Santilleg-Skippers method. The proportion of seats a party gets in the Bundestag approximately equates the percentage of votes the party gets in the election. So, of course, the proportion of seats must be the same. The proportion of seats in the Bundestag must be the same. The proportion of seats or the percentage of votes the party gets in the election. So, because 50% from the 50% from the constituency and 50% for the party list seats. So the electors' second votes are not accounted. So there are rules or reminders and the process of voting. So in the system of voting. So in the second vote, if the vote is not accounted if those electors give their first votes to a successful and autonomous direct candidate. a candidate who is not nominated by a party. This rule is designed to prevent a double influence on the composition of the Bundestag. So here is the official ballot of the here is their official ballot. So the first, the color black, it contains the constituency list of the candidate. It is in the first vote, and the second vote, this is color blue, which contains the list of the parties. Okay. So elections in the constituencies, Section 5 of the Federal Electoral Act, one member of the Bundestag is elected in each of the 299 constituencies in the federal territory. The candidate who gets the most constituency votes is directly elected to the Bundestag. So, as what I have said, this voting of relative majority voting is utilized. So it means that the candidate who receives the most votes, who can get the mandate. So the constituency seats won are counted towards the total number of seats won by a party with votes for its state list in order to guarantee the number of MPs in the Bundestag corresponds to the principles of proportional representation. Elections of State Party List, Section 6 of the Federal Electoral Act. The proportion of second votes won by the party list determines the representation in the Bundestag and the number of members elected from the states to the Bundestag. Parties must receive at least 5% of the second votes to enter the Bundestag. So, the parties receive below 5%, so it cannot enter the Bundestag. So, elections of state party list, Section 6 of the Federal Electoral Act. First step, the total number of Bundestag seats must be calculated. In the second step, the seats are allocated according to the proportion of second votes received by the parties who then allocate their seats using their state list. So the number of constituency seats won in the state constituencies is subtracted from the number of seats allocated to the state list. The remaining seats are assigned in order they appear on the list. Candidates who have won a constituency seat and are also on the party list are skipped over when seats are allocated using the party list. So the candidate who have won in the constituency seat are automatically allocated, are having the seats. Only parties may submit state list of candidates. If a party has not been represented by at least 5 members in the Bundestag or a state parliament without interruption since the last elections, the Federal Electoral Committee decides whether it is a party for the election. Complaints about decisions by the Federal Electoral Committee may be submitted to the Federal Constitutional Court within 4 days. So, the complaints of the candidates about the decision of the Federal Electoral Committee would submitted into the Federal Constitutional Court to raise their concerns and find solutions of it. The applicant is to be treated as a party and may therefore submit party list until the court has made a decision and no more than 59 days before the election. So they also have given the span of time to wait until the decision is fixed, until the decision of the court fixed. When to vote? So when to vote? The polls will open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday in 219 electoral districts in the country, and all the votes should be counted by Monday morning. Who can vote? So German citizens above 18 years are eligible to cast their vote, and about 60.4 million people of the 83 million population are eligible to exercise their franchise this year. So it is the same from Philippine system. Citizens age 18 and above can cast their vote. So German passport holders who have lived in the country for at least 3 months can also vote. German citizens living abroad are allowed to vote under certain conditions. So every German citizens have the opportunity to cast their vote under the under the certain conditions, if they are in abroad, or so exactly the German citizens are all have the opportunity to cast their vote. How does the German election system work? German's basic law stipulates that its members should be elected in general, direct, free, equal, and secret elections. Germany's electoral system is a combination of the first past, the post election of constituency candidates' first votes, and proportional representation on the basis of votes for the party's land list second votes. So the half of the members of the Bundestag are elected directly from the Germany's 299 constituencies. The other half via party list in Germany's 16 Länder states. So each of these 299 constituencies directly elects a lawmaker by a simple majority, and the 299 seats go to candidates elected on party list. That vote is critical because it determines the percentage of seats each party wins. So this is the 16 Länder of Germany. The German electoral system. So the first past the post, which in the first vote there are 299 constituency representatives. And the right side, which is the proportional representation, which is in the second vote, it comprised 299 seats for party delegates. So the Bundestag have a 598 seats all in all. So at the center, the official ballot of the German electoral system, their official ballot. The first, the color black, which is the list of the candidates, and the second part is the list of the parties. Who elects the chancellor? German citizens do not directly elect the chancellor, but they elect the federal officials. So the federal officials are the one who pick or select the candidate for chancellor. So typically, the coalition party with the most seats picks the chancellor. Once a coalition is decided upon, the German president nominates to the Bundestag a candidate for chancellor. So the German president, who are responsible in choosing or nominating to the Bundestag to present a candidate for chancellor. This candidate needs a majority, of course. This candidate needs majority of all members to be elected, and doesn't have to be a member of parliament. The old chancellor, however, continues in a caretaker capacity, so they have to continue his task or his term until a new government is formed. In a rare case, if two attempts to elect a chancellor with a majority fail, the president is allowed to appoint a candidate who has to win the most votes in a third vote, or the president may dissolve the Bundestag and hold a national election. That has never happened yet. How is the German Bundestag elected? The Bundestag is elected every 4 years by German citizens aged 18 or over. Elections use a mixed member proportional representation system, which combines first past the post elected seats with a proportional party list to ensure its composition mirrors the national popular vote. So which are the main parties? Out of the 47 parties listed on the ballot sheet, 3 leading parties are the center-right Christian Democrats, the center-left Social Democrats, and the Greens. So the center-right Union Bloc Christian Democratic Union was the biggest group in the outgoing parliament, and it consisted of Merkel's Christian Democratic Union and the Christian Social Union. The center-left Social Democratic Party has been the coalition with the conservatives and is the second largest group. On the other hand, the left-wing party Greens was leading the polls earlier this year, and the party focuses on the social justice and climate change. So who can form government? A government can only be formed by parties that singly or together with others have the majority of members behind them. So this is why elections are often followed by the coalition negotiations between the parties. Okay, I think that is all for my part, and thank you and God bless everyone.